Welcome back to the Early Nerds podcast. Today is going to be a series of short videos we're going to be releasing about Overwatch character lore. Also, I want to take a moment to express our gratitude and thank you for the love and support we've received on all platforms we posted to. I would also like to give Kayla a huge thank you for providing us with the cliff notes used in today's video and take a moment to talk about what our podcast is about, because I should have did this in the first one, but hey, I forgot. Our podcast discusses all things nerdy, such as tabletop games like Warhammer, D&D. We also will be covering MCU, DCU, video games, and much more. So stay tuned, guys.
Could we cover a little bit of quick backstory of the history of Overwatch?
I'm gonna have you take over that because I'm a little iffy on that. I mainly just got all the characters.
Okay, gotcha. So basically, the game starts off with the creation of Omnics. Omnics are humanoid robots that were created roughly about 30 to 40 years before the actual start of the original Overwatch game. Originally, they were just kind of, automatons. They were used for kind of doing the dirty work for people. Sometimes they were contracted to, fight in place of soldiers, but also did like butler work and stuff like that. Eventually, long story short, a really, really powerful AI kind of gained sentience, realized that Omnics were kind of being treated as a lesser class, and led a revolt, which led to the Omnic crisis that people talk about in the game. Basically, this Anubis AI, which was kind of spearheading this entire thing, created a bunch of Omnics to fight wars, including the original Bastion robots, lots of big giant tanks, mechs, stuff like that. Eventually, the Omnics lost the war, but multiple places started recognizing them as humans, or at least started seeing them as equals, for the most part. Australia definitely doesn't like the Omnics because Australia actually got nuked completely, and so they are just an irradiated wasteland that absolutely despise the Omnics. Same thing with Russia. Russia has really bad tensions with the Omnics because they were kind of front lines when it came to actually fighting the Omnics. So there's still some bad blood between the two of them as well.
See, I
Uh,
actually didn't know any of that.
yeah, so basically, it's no longer in the game right now, but the Temple of Anubis map,
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
yeah, the Temple of Anubis was actually I want to say, the securing device that was actually used to contain the Anubis AI. So that's what the heroes and characters were actually fighting to get to, was the storage facility of this AI that they subdued. That
Wasn't
kind of led the Omnic crisis.
wasn't Farah tasked with guarding that area?
Yes, originally.
Hmm.
There is a little bit of a comic about it, but I haven't fully read it. But yes.
Nice. Man, I didn't even know any of that. Man, I'm glad you're here. Shit,
Yeah.
we've been up shit creek with without a paddle.
Uh,
So what I'm gonna have you do is, who is the least likely person that you would fight? And we're gonna start with them. Like
who is
straight,
the least likely?
yeah, the
Like,
least likely, like in a fisticuff fight, straight up 1-on-1.
so if I had to go, you know, toe to toe with one specific character, honestly, I'd probably say Junker Queen.
All right, let's start with
Real
Junker
tough.
Queen. I don't think I want to fight her either, to be honest. So, Junker Queen, also known as Odessa Stone or Des for short, is from Junkertown, Australia. She was one of six kids. Her parents are former Australian Liberation Front, or ALF for short. They ran the town watch and negotiated trade with other settlements. Together, they taught Des the rules of the wasteland, how to operate in the group, and how to survive in the irradiated outback. The Omnic crisis never really ended for them. The survivors and descendants of Alf and the Omnics who roamed the outback clashed in an unending battle for the land and its resources. Des, aka Junker Queen, and her friends learned how to fight from a young age and quickly formed a posse to hunt Wastelander Omnics. She used pieces and equipment from her fallen enemies to craft weapons and armor for herself, including the gauntlet that can manipulate electromagnetism.
Time for the reckoning!
So the Reckoning is an event held every few seasons in Junkertown. It's a week-long gathering full of feasting and fighting. anyone can publicly challenge the reigning Junker monarch as long as they defeat all the other challengers. And Odessa's reckoning, she leveraged her size and experience in the wasteland to defeat more experienced opponents. Mex couldn't stop her. She fought her way all the way to Mason Howe, the reigning Junker King, defeated him with ease, and used the publicity to take over Junkertown. The reckoning also produced a champion of her own, which was, as we all know, Wrecking Ball.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. All right.
The least person that I would have like to fight would be Ramatra. So let's skip over to him.
Of course.
I would never want to fight that guy in a million years.
I can run over Ramata pretty quickly.
Awesome.
So a lot of his stuff is still kind of being worked on because he's the newest character that got released. But essentially, Ramatra lived in the same monastery as Zenyatta originally. Both of them were studying under, say, Mondara, which
Yes.
actually was one of the main characters that got assassinated right at the beginning of Overwatch 1.
Wasn't he assassinated by
Widowmaker.
Widowmaker? Yep.
Indeed. There is also a short of that. But yeah, so Ramatra and Zenyatta kind of had a brotherly bond, but the way they went about obtaining peace was vastly different. Zenyatta was kind of more so being one with everyone and everything, whereas Ramatra kind of figured if they weren't going to give it to us, we were going to take it from them, type thing, which is kind of where the two separated. They both kind of respect each other, but don't respect the other's methods. Ramatra actually founded Null Sector, which is the current bad guys in the story. He was actually spotted in the very end of, I want to say, the second event where it was Overwatch that took over. Oh goodness, what's the name of that event?
Which one?
The one where you're on the tropical map.
Is that the one in Rio?
No, that's a separate one.
God
Let's pop over here. Okay. So it's the Storm Rising event. So basically, that was the one where you were either play as say Tracer, Genji, Mercy, and Winston. That's right. So basically, you were on that one map, you were fighting bots. That is Null Sector. And at the very, very end, there was a little bit of a cutscene where Doomfist actually meets up with Ramatra. That came out right around 2018. He's been in the game and referenced for a long time. They really haven't been able to bring him to the character roster until recently.
Man, he's been around for a minute. I did not even know that.
Oh yeah.
So now who's the most likely person you will fight?
Goodness. I mean, just with fists,
Yep, straight up fisticuffs.
I'd fight Diva.
Oh my god.
She's just a little tiny person.
What the fuck? Okay, Diva. Let's go over to Diva. Alrighty. So I will take Diva.
All right.
So Diva is from Busan, South Korea, on the Mecha base. Her real name is Hana Song, aka Diva. She's a former professional gamer. She put her skills to use as a mech pilot in defense of South Korea against the Guishin. I believe that's what they're called. The Guishin are colossal mechanical monstrosities that rose from the depths of East China Sea. The massive lumbering construct caused catastrophic damage to coastal cities before it was driven back beneath the waves. She did all this with a team named the Mecha Squad. I said Dicka. Diva quickly grew in skill and became Mecha's top pilot, even streaming combat operations for her adoring fan. But the Guishin threats increased attacks on South Korea began to take a heavy toll on the Mecha Squad, where the Mecha Squad could only pretty much train for about 1 day or not even that long before another assault happened by the Guishin. This kind of led to Diva having to, I guess, go and fight an assault that came by herself, which is also seen in the video that they released. During that time, she pretty much had to fend them off, and that's where she came up with her self-detonation for her ultimate that she does in the game. After this, she took some time to recover, and then her commander suggested that she join Overwatch, and not only join Overwatch, but alongside Cole Cassidy and his new recruits to fight against Null Sector.
Nice.
So the most likely person I would fight on this would probably be, I think I could beat up Lucio.
he's just a DJ, of course.
I'm gonna slap him in the face with his fucking with his little DJ pad that he pulls out and his emote. Turn up
Break a
this.
record over his head.
Yep. Turn up these fists. All right, let's scroll on down to Lucio. Do you want him or do you want me to take him?
I can take on Lucio
Sounds good.
with my fists.
Oh shit.
Lucio Correa dos Santos. Goodness. Like people know already, he started out as a DJ, but he eventually became a freedom fighter. Kind of just because he saw that his music led to a lot of change, and a lot of people were kind of just telling him, hey, this has actually helped me out. This has helped other people out, and so I really appreciate you. His family was hit pretty hard during the Omnic crisis, and so he kind of really lived in the streets, from what I understand. Did a lot of football and played a lot of hockey as well, which is kind of what helped him learn to use the skates that he kind of brought into his outfit for the Overwatch games. However, once he grew up, the Vishkar Corporation actually kind of took hold of his city and really was like uprooting a lot of people and keeping people from their homes because they just bought out swaths of land and they were just demolishing everything, tearing down buildings to build their own buildings. They were also kind of brought in their own police force, which kind of cracked down on a lot of stuff that people in the city kind of just did on a normal basis. So basically, having enough, he snuck in and he stole a lot of technology from the Vishkar Corporation. And I want to say ever since then, he kind of just has been on the run and joined Overwatch because he really appreciated what they meant to a lot of people.
I do also believe that he actually helped Effie find a reactor for Orisa.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of interconnective, stories between characters in the games, which is really nice. I mean, like you were saying, Lucio helped Effie or Ify build Orisa, but Diva actually really likes Lucio. In fact, he is her favorite music artist, and she'll mention it occasionally in the pre-game banter in lobbies and stuff like that.
Honestly, never heard them two talk.
Oh yeah. In fact, I think he offers to sign a couple of things for her as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with pre-match banter between Lucio and Symmetra. They actually don't get along because his outfit is actually stolen from her company.
Did she own Veskar?
She doesn't own Vishkar. She was just a scientist working with them.
Nice. I did not know that. I thought she kind of owned it a little bit.
Mm-mm.
Just a top scientist.
I don't even know about top scientist, to be honest. I think she was just kind of. I know she was smart, but I don't think she was like head scientist.
Gotcha. All right. Pick a letter A through Z.
Q.
See what we got in Q. Do we even have any characters that are Q?
No.
Oh my god. Son of a bitch. I was really looking to him like,
Got him.
let's do the next closest to Q.
Want to talk about Symmetra since we already talked about
Oh yeah.
the.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like the way you think.
Oh, thank you.
So, Symmetra is from Utopia, Indiana. Fucking Indiana.
Oh
Oh
man.
shit. She's from Utopia, India. For fuck's sake. Um like we said, she works at Veskar. She began creating a new self-sustaining city to house the nation's displaced population. The Utopia was created using radical hard-like technology, the kind of technology that she uses in the game. It ended up shaping the city's streets, utilities, and living spaces in a blink of an eye. After she was identified as one of the few capable of coming up with a light-bending architect, young fuck, what is her? Is it Satya?
Let me look.
I think it's Satya. That's her
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
Satya Vaswani.
yeah, Satya Vaswani was plucked from an extreme poverty place and placed in a care of Veskar. It's also known that when she was actually trying to give her technology to a corporation, I can't remember what their name is, but I'll put the comic strip into the after credits. She actually went and blew up a corporation just so that Veskar can get the AOK to build in their city. And in doing so, she actually caused a little girl to have a permanent burn mark over, I believe, her left eye.
Mm.
So Veskar is not the most friendly of people.
Yeah. They're not necessarily evil, but they're not super great in obtaining the means they want either.
They are definitely get the contract by any means.
Got that right.
How about we move on to one of the fan favorites, Ana?
Okay. Yeah.
You got this one?
Yes, sir. So Ana Amari was actually one of the original founders of Overwatch. She was in the first initial squad with, Soldier 76, Reaper, back when he was Jack Reyes, as well as Torbjorn and Reinhardt. She was kind of the team sniper, but did a lot of the healing. Things kind of went well until they didn't go well. Surprise, surprise. And eventually, they were forced to take on a brainwashed Widowmaker who had actually been captured by Null Sector and turned into essentially like a sleeper agent. She killed her husband, and while Ana was trying to hunt her down, she got a shot in and sighted, and Widowmaker did the same. Widowmaker was first to pull the trigger, so it ruined Ana's good eye, and basically she kind of disappeared for a while.
If I remember correctly, she let everyone believe that she was dead.
Yeah, she basically faked her death completely. Not even her daughter knew that she was alive. And that was one thing that really, really shocked everyone when she came back because no one knew that she was still alive.
And she also did not officially join back with Overwatch when Winston called the recall.
No. She's kind of doing her own thing, a little bit more vigilante than anything else. So, a couple of, she tours around Egypt every once in a while, and I want to believe that some people call her the Shrike. But yeah, basically she was kind of fighting in the shadows for a while. Yeah, there's some characters in this game that have a really, really deep lore. Then there are others that it's just kind of like, yeah, they're here.
Yep. But Widowmaker's there. Yeah. She is definitely I wouldn't say not my favorite to play, but I definitely don't enjoy playing Widowmaker.
Definitely don't enjoy playing people who, or playing against people who play as her.
Oh man, if you got a good Widowmaker on your team or a good Widowmaker on the enemy team, dude, she will fucking make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
Definitely will want to rage quit. How about we get into some Deadlock gang?
All right. Which one you thinking?
You want to do Ash or Cassidy first?
Ooh. Uh, I can do Ash.
Sounds good.
So Ash was born and raised in a really wealthy household, from what I understand. Her ultimate Bob is actually her childhood butler, from what I've heard. Yeah, basically all was going well until Cassidy came up and he was just kind of like, "Hey, I got some pretty good scores, but I need another couple of people to help me out." After she helped him out, she kind of got a taste for herself. Her parents also own a firearms company, which definitely made it a lot easier for her to obtain, the skills to do something like that. But basically, once the Deadlock gang got there, they kind of realized that, they weren't robbing something or obtaining goods. They were kind of set up, and Overwatch took them all in.
Pretty much, Cassidy was like, "Gotcha, bitch." It's also good to say that Ash is one of three people that created the Deadlock gang, also including Cassidy, and one other person that could possibly be another hero that we get in the game.
Bob.
Oh, wait, Bob helped it?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait, what the fuck? I was gonna be like, how do I not know this? That Bob is not. Bob is one of the creators of the of the Deadlock gang.
He's the sole creator of the Deadlock gang.
Man, that freaking top hat that he wears that is some styling right there.
Bob seems cool.
Bob does seem like a cool dude. Seems like a sweet soul. This is a good Omnic. So moving on though, we have Cassidy, also known as Cole Cassidy from Santa Fe, New Mexico, USA. Cole
Really?
Cassidy is, like I said, one of the three to help create the Deadlock gang. He pretty much just grew up as a little ruffian in Santa Fe and made his way over to, I believe it's Deadlock, George, Arizona, USA. And that's where he met Ash. They went on a couple of heists together and eventually got all of the gangs to come together so that they could stop working against each other and kind of work towards one common goal of getting rich and robbing everyone. Eventually, though, Overwatch caught up to them and gave Cassidy the choice either, rot in prison or join Overwatch. And not only did he join Overwatch, he joined Blackwatch, which, if you don't know what that is, that's the Overwatch Covert Ops division. That means they do stuff in the dark. No one knows anything about them. They're kind of a little bit on the hush hush side of things. Cassidy really liked that because he could kind of go around and do whatever he wanted and still have to, go back to Blackwatch and obviously do his job. During the time when Blackwatch got exposed, leading to the inevitable downfall of Overwatch, he kind of just was like, all right, fuck this shit, I'm out, and went underground and became a gunslinger for hire.
Interesting.
He's definitely one of my favorites to play, though.
Oh yeah, his voice lines are just super iconic.
And you can't forget the GOAT Matt Mercer voices him.
In fact, I've heard Matt Mercer in interviews talk about how he actually plays the game fairly regularly, or at least used to, and would constantly get on comms and just say his ultimate line, and it would freak everyone out.
So he just get online and be like, "It's high noon."
High noon. Oh yeah.
Oh my
Whether he
god.
had his ult or not, it would throw everyone off, and they'd be like, "Wait," they'd start freaking out.
Oh my god. I kind of just want to just get into a lobby right now and hope that I run into him, and all I hear is just "It's high noon." So now that we done did the fast toting, gun carrying, most exhilarating men in show business, let's bump on over to Brigitte and Reinhardt. I'll get.
Uh,
You said what's our?
what's that?
No, you go ahead, buddy.
No, it's all good. I insist.
No, I insist, but of course.
No, but I insist.
No, but I insist, of course. Tisk tisk.
So I figure Reinhardt's story would probably be better to tell first before going to Brigitte.
Yes, absolutely.
So basically, Reinhardt started out as part of the German armed forces. Goodness me. This was back during the Omnic crisis, so in order to kind of stay toe to toe with the Omnics, the Germans actually built giant mechs. They kind of made giant Space Marine Terminator armor and just started fighting back.
Fighting back's a little modest. They beat the shit out of them.
I mean, they took heavy casualties, but they got results, so that was all that mattered, really. Again, it was touched on in a short, but basically, young Reinhardt was really brash and kind of really full of himself until he kind of got his ass handed to him a little bit. And ultimately, he fell back, but his general and mentor actually took on the Omnics and pushed them back, which allowed him to survive, kind of giving him a change of heart. It's also where he got his scar from. In fact, Baldric's armor is actually still in the map Eichenwald. That is one of the items that they are trying to obtain in the actual map itself. Basically, after Baldric died, though, and Reinhardt had his change of heart and kind of change of personality, he figured the best way to honor Baldric was to join Overwatch and continue fighting the good fight. He was really close with everyone. He was really close, especially with Torbjorn. I believe Torbjorn actually, his life was saved by Reinhardt. He lost an arm, but he survived. And, while Torbjorn didn't like him a lot at first, having his life saved by this dude actually changed it. So they ended up becoming really, really close. Reinhardt multiple times would stop over by the house, to check in on Torbjorn a lot, and got to become really close with the family. In doing so, became really close with Brigitte.
That indeed he did because he is Brigitte's godfather.
Indeed.
So Brigitte actually kind of looked up to Reinhardt and became his squire after Reinhardt wanted to go and fight this faction that they were dealing with called the Dragons. Reinhardt ended up getting really, really severely injured during this fight, and Brigida noticed like, hey, I gotta start kicking some ass now. So she made herself pretty much her own armor because she learned how to from taking care of Reinhardt's armor because she kind of had that same skill that her dad Torbjorn had in kind of making creations. So she made her own armor using, I believe it's called armor fabrication. I want to say it's what it's called.
Okay. Also, little fun fact about Reinhardt. He apparently really likes David Hasselhoff's music.
No way.
Yeah, it's it's one of his voice lines.
That is hilarious. I need to hear that voice line. So that is going to be it for today, folks. If you'd like us to pick this up in a part two, um, give us a couple comments, couple likes, and we'll pick this up for part two. But stay tuned for our next episode. We're actually going to be just doing a final cover of Jedi Survivor. You all have a beautiful day and see you.
See ya.